Japan's biggest idiot. Better be good. Glory Hole Machete. Ew. Thanks for the 6 months, though. Welcome back.
Absolute dumbest politician of all time. Stupid decision after stupid decision, this complete donkey single-handedly destroyed an entire political party that he built. He went from a popular senator to a broke loser with a criminal record, and it was all his own fault. Surprisingly, this story starts with the NHK.
Loser.
NHK is Japan's public broadcaster, essentially their version of the BBC. And while they're basically just a news station, there's a big movement of people who hate them. The biggest reason for this being their fees. Everyone who lives in Japan and owns a TV must pay the NHK's fees.
We used to have this here in Sweden as well. People didn't like it. But most people, this was really funny because most people, basically, you only had to pay for it if they knew you had a TV, right? So whenever you went and bought a TV, you'd get a phone call where they would say, hey, we saw you bought a TV. Are you watching it? Some people thought they were smart. They said, no, the TV's standing in the basement. I don't use it. But they're like, doesn't matter. You still have to. But a lot of people, you straight up just lied. Nope, I don't have a TV. Until they came knocking on your door. Then you were in big trouble. Michael, thanks for the 18 months. He recently had his birthday and he wishes for a chat full of Nimcrocs.
Doesn't matter if you don't watch their channel, doesn't matter if you just use your TV for Netflix, you have to pay. And if you don't, NHK will send debt collectors to your house until you do.
Yeah,
everyone
exactly
who's lived in Japan has dealt with these guys.
Now they just put it on our taxes instead, so we can't help. We have to pay now.
Some of them are nice and will back off when you say you don't own a TV. Or if you intimidate them with your Yakuza tattoos.
Oh, shit.
But most of them are persistent. They will try anything to get you to pay. They'll come knocking every day, peeping through your windows looking for anything that resembles a TV, or try to trick you that your computer monitor or even your cell phone counts as one. In the worst cases, they've been known to trespass or even get physical with people who won't pay.
They must be getting commission whenever they bust someone.
But eventually, one brave man stood up to the NHK and said, enough. His name? Tachibana Takashi, the man who hates NHK more than anyone. Tachibana was a professional pachinko player. Yes, that's a thing. But before that, he worked at the NHK for 20 years until he was pushed out following an accounting scandal in 2005. So he had more reason to hate them than anyone. And with the rise of the internet, he took his vendetta to YouTube, where all he does is criticize the NHK and teach people how to get out of paying their fees. He's been doing that for 13 years now. But most importantly, in 2013, he started a political party called Party to Protect the People.
Literally just put it on the taxes, though. It just makes so much more sense, because then people also will pay according to their income instead of fixed rate, which doesn't make sense.
From NHK. And he had a genius advertising idea. The party handed out these NHK repellent stickers. Slap one of these on your door and bam, the debt collectors stop coming. It sounds too good to be true, but from the NHK's point of view, they know that whoever has these stickers is going to be a difficult customer.
What if I don't have a
place.
TV?
And even if they did show up, the sticker had Tachibana's personal phone number on it, and he would tell you exactly what to say to get them to go away.
It's like saying, fucking, what if I never go to the hospital? I'm still paying for hospital fees with my taxes. Yep. That's how it is, comrade.
This was bold and it worked. These stickers were popping up everywhere. Tachibana's strategy resonated with voters who hated the fee collectors. But this was also a wild time in Japanese politics.
Dumb
the
take.
first YouTuber candidate ran in 2016.
I think it's worth having independent or government-funded media. I do think that there's a value to that. But I say that as someone who lives in a country that doesn't have a super corrupt government. Obviously, if you have a corrupt government, it sort of sucks ass.
He was, well... Thousands of people had to suffer through that because Japan forces TV stations to give political candidates airtime, which is exactly why he was doing it in the first place.
And it's not just about news either. It's about like sports
some of
and
his speeches
entertainment.
were so bad, NHK had to censor them. He ended up suing them, but he lost. Tachibana saw this guy, a complete loser, and thought, I'm a YouTuber too. I can do way better than that. So he decided to take a big step and get into national politics. He was going to run for the House of Councilors, basically the Japanese Senate, on a really simple platform. And you know what? It went better than expected. People liked him, or at least they didn't like the NHK. He got 1 million votes, and he actually won. This was his dream. The people elected him to fight the NHK from inside. It felt like the beginnings of a real political movement. The NHK party was extremely popular if you polled high school boys.
Dude, this reminds me of the Pirate Party here in Sweden. It was like a 1-point party as well that blew up like for one election. They literally just had one thing. It was piracy is good, anti-piracy is bad. And everyone's like, well, I do pirate a lot of stuff, so fuck yeah, I'm on. Right? This is during the height of the Pirate Bay. And then they got a shit ton of votes in the Parliament vote, because that's the vote where people don't really give a damn. The European Parliament vote. People just sort of vote whatever they feel like in that one. So they won a bunch of seats in the European Parliament, and then they sat there, and for anything that wasn't related to piracy, they just... people talk, but people's not talking.
Destroy the NHK was the most popular phrase on the internet in 2019. But still, it wasn't enough. If he wanted to keep growing, he would need to fight the NHK even harder. Luckily, he had the perfect plan. Ooh. Step 1. Become a criminal.
Yeah, same fucking thing.
Tachibana had recruited a mole, an NHK fee collector that was loyal to him. But instead of playing it slow, Tachibana immediately went nuclear. He took the names and addresses of 50 random NHK customers and posted them to YouTube, with a blur over top. And he made a demand. If the head of NHK doesn't meet with me within 2 weeks, I'm gonna remove the blur. Ooh. Yeah, he was literally holding random Japanese citizens' personal information hostage. And that's how the court saw it too. Oopsie. Both Tachibana and the mole were found guilty for this plot. Tachibana was given a 4-year suspended sentence. Well, that didn't work. Better try something else. What about expanding to other issues? I mean, the party didn't have a platform outside of simply hating the NHK, so maybe some new policy positions could help. After a lot of thought, this is what Tachibana came up with.
バカな国ほど子供を産むから、はい、バカな民族っていうかね、そういうアホみたいな子供を産む民族がとりあえず虐殺しろみたいな。
Wow.
Wait,
that
what?
got dark really fast.
Wait, hang on. The subtitles sort of covered stuff.
With.
バカな国ほど子供を産むから、はい、バカな民族っていうかね、そういうアホみたいな子供を産む民族がとりあえず虐殺しろみたいな。
Wow, that got dark really fast. But that's not all. What? This was his new right-hand man. Yeah, this was the new NHK party. But I guess it's what you can expect when a YouTuber enters politics.
They just sat around brainstorming. They were like, well, the Nazis were pretty popular back in Germany in the day, so let's try it. Is that coffee stain? What is that?
People called for Tachibana to resign from the Senate over his genocide comments, but instead he just deleted the video and pretended like they took him out of context.
僕がそんな虐殺とかしようと思ってる人間に見えますか?
Tachibana was clearly bad at this
nice gaming chair, though.
Politics thing. He needed a new strategy, something flashier. Unfortunately,
of course,
someone
a
else beat him to the
racist would
punch.
use that a racist chair, racing.
スマホで録画して YouTube や TikTok にアップロードしてどんどん再生回数を稼いでください。私の政策は千葉県全体をディズニーランドにする。
Okay, dude, they're just taking the piss at this point.
A new Joker candidate was making headlines not just in Japan, but worldwide. Tachibana realized he had it the wrong way around. He was a YouTuber trying to fit in with the politicians, but he needed to bring YouTube to politics. Luckily, he knew the perfect guy. It was time for step 3, Tachibana's biggest mistake yet. More YouTubers.
No.
Over 11 years, Tachibana had gotten around 400,000 subscribers on YouTube. But this guy, Gashi, or as I like to call him, Gassi, had over a million, and he built it in less than 2 months. Gassi was basically Japanese Keemstar, but instead of internet figures, he exposed A-list celebrities' darkest secrets that he learned over the years managing a really high-end bar. And somehow, Tachibana convinced him not just to join the NHK party, but to run on their ticket.
Easiest way to get views. Farm views, man. Drama farm. Always will be. Always has been. Claw! I appreciate your effort to keep improving the stream, creating service, and asking what people enjoy. Have a good weekend, Nim. Oh, thanks for the nice words. And the resub.
It for a second seat in the House of Councilors. And yeah, Gassi easily won. But wait, why isn't he there celebrating in person? Well, Gassi is a criminal and he's on the run from the law. He's in Dubai right now. He ran away because of massive gambling debts. That's why he sold out his friend's secrets in the first place. He's also wanted by Interpol for defamation. But this might make you wonder, how is he going to serve in the Japanese House of Counselors from Dubai? And the answer is, he didn't. He never attended even once. Of course, he was still collecting his 19 million yen salary. The Japanese public hated this. He was asked time and time again to return to Japan. And by the way, once he was elected, he became immune from prosecution, so he easily could have, but he refused. Eventually, after many warnings, Gassi was forcibly expelled from the House of Counselors. The first time that's happened since 1951. In the end, Gassi, who don't cry, which is a lie, by the way, ended up getting arrested in Dubai, forcibly returned to Japan, charged, and given a 5-year suspended sentence.
Rip.
What was Tachibana thinking? Did he really think nobody would notice his wanted criminal YouTuber friend not showing up for work? This scandal was so embarrassing and the public blowback so strong that after 12 years building the NHK party, Tachibana had no other choice but to step down.
No!
And of course, because he just can't stop messing up, this is step 4 by the way, he appointed some random child
How are they still getting votes at this point?
actor named Ayaka who joined the party 2 months earlier to be the new leader.
エンドに対する考えを聞かせてください。
Oh yeah, and the NHK party, it was now an idol group and they were renaming it to Politician Girls 48. The very first thing Ayaka did was try to milk the party for her own benefit by hosting a really weird fundraising event where you could pay 10,000 yen to whip her or 100,000 yen to tie her up.
What?
She also tried to withdraw 900,000 yen from the party's bank account, but the bank called Tachibana to confirm and he froze the funds.
You froze our account?
I did.
The original party's investors now felt betrayed. They contributed to help Tachibana fight against the NHK, not Ayaka's S&M Party 48. They all asked for their money back and now the party was in debt for over 1 billion yen. Suffice to say, Tachibana had made a huge mistake. Within a month, he tried to reverse course and kick Ayaka out, but it was too late. The party was divided. Even the Jewish money guy had turned against him and was now coming to disrupt his rallies.
It too?
And it wasn't just Tachibana, he was disrupting everyone's rallies to the point that he got arrested for it. But he was putting it on YouTube and making money, so maybe it was worth it. Regardless, Ayaka didn't like it, so she kicked him out of Politician Girls 48. Tachibana's fight to retake control of the party was not going well. He was resorting to tracking Ayaka down on the street.
久しぶりだね。逃げるんですか。110番してください。じゃあ脅迫だって言うんだったら。
She calls the cops, he chases her for a few minutes until she goes into a building and he stands outside like an NPC. Eventually, to figure out whose party it really was, they had to go to court, and it took a long time, all the way up until March of this year to resolve. The final...
By the way, what is this, lol? Oh, what the fuck? What is that? Like it's like a pillow shaped like a glove. Why? Hey, African leather, by the way. Thanks for the 8 months. Welcome back.
Final decision, the party belongs to Ayaka. Tachibana had now lost everything.
Rip.
But there was one sliver of hope, an opportunity on the horizon. The biggest election in the country was coming up, the Tokyo election, and Tachibana had an idea, a scheme, you could say. Let me explain. If there's one thing you should know about Japanese elections, it's that they are obsessed with fairness and keeping money out of politics. Candidates are not allowed to hire staff or even pay for advertising. And to make sure they're serious, anyone who wants to run has to pay a 3 million yen deposit. But in return, the government guarantees you a ton of free advertising. They give you newspaper ads, 2 6-minute broadcasts on TV, and a spot on these poster boards.
Oh, no.
Tachibana's plan was to exploit...
Wait a minute. You pay 20 grand and you get all of that? Sounds like a nice marketing fee.
This. Here's how. The most candidates that had ever entered this election before was 22. Tachibana alone entered 24. Not only did this immediately give him a ton of media attention, he also got the free advertising. For the newspaper ads, Tachibana put the candidate small in the little right-hand corner, with the rest of the space advertising himself. And that's not all. In their TV spots, he made them say his slogan and mention him by name.
NHK をぶっ壊す立花隆が
NHK をぶっ壊す立花隆が NHK をぶっ壊す立花隆が
But the crux of the whole plan lied in the poster boards. There are 14,000 poster boards in Tokyo, and each candidate gets 1 square on every board. But by running 24 candidates and manipulating the way the squares are selected, Tachibana personally owned this entire section of the board on all 14,000 boards.
Nice.
His plan? Resell entire boards to people for 10,000 yen each. Buyers could put up whatever flyers they wanted. Some customers included a YouTuber who put up this hand-drawn artwork, this guy who advertised himself as the #1 host in Japan, but he must also have some haters because someone came and ripped his posters. Even idol groups paid to put posters up. It says, "We have a 42-year-old, a mascot character queer, and even a gay member. Thanks, Tachibana, for the advertising opportunity.
Oh.
Here's the mascot, so I'll let you guys speculate who the other two are. But as you could guess, Tachibana would take money from anyone, even anti-Korean groups who put posters up right outside a Korean international school. Tachibana's math behind the poster scheme kind of made sense. Entering 24 candidates at 3 million yen each would cost Tachibana 72 million yen. But if all the posters sold, he would generate 140 million yen, doubling his investment and getting tons of free publicity. Well, unfortunately, it wasn't that simple. Tachibana missed something. A little thing, the public hated this. I mean, first off, this is not what the election boards are supposed to be for. They're supposed to even the playing field by giving each candidate the same amount of space and keeping money out of politics. This is literally the opposite of that. But second, this screwed over other legitimate candidates. Tachibana's 24 entries pushed the election to a whopping 56 candidates. But the poster boards only had 48 spaces. So some candidates literally didn't have space for their posters, and the election committee had to make a special exemption to allow them to hang on the edges. I know, a special exemption.
Why don't they just make the boards bigger? Why don't you just add a segment? I don't get it.
Special exemption to allow them to hang on the edges. I know, a special exemption, very Japanese. Basically, this scheme made everyone hate Tachibana. He expected to pull in 140 million yen, and the actual amount he pulled in? 55 million. Oh, no, I accidentally added a zero. 5 million yen.
Oops.
Tachibana did not take this very well. He blamed the media for making people hate his scheme and therefore not buy the posters. He wanted the narrative to be that he did this out of the kindness of his heart to prove how wasteful the poster boards are and to give a voice to the voiceless. And nobody believed that. The truth is, Tachibana was kind of right. Even though the Tokyo election got a ton of coverage, his scheme did get almost none. But the reason is, the media was preoccupied with something else. You see, both the diaper guy and the Joker built legitimate careers from their—
Is that the mask?
Crazy performances. The Joker was even elected to a city council in 2022. And as a result, this inspired tons of copycats. In the 2024 Tokyo election, there was a flood of joke candidates.
What the fuck was that one? Some girlfriend roleplay? This is crazier than American politics.
This guy looks like a square. There was even an AI mayor who wants to make all of Tokyo's decisions with AI. Next thing you know, the city's gonna look like this. So yeah, it was chaos. The only people left talking about Tachibana's dumb scheme were the people criticizing it. Tachibana's story is that of a man who spent 13 years building a political movement, only to lose his party, go bankrupt, and end up becoming the villain. And you know, for a sliver of time in 2019, he was actually super popular because he tapped into people's legitimate hatred of the NHK fee collectors. And he actually won that fight, by the way. Since his election, NHK has mostly stopped sending them out. And they even lowered their fees in 2023. So he needed to just take the win. But instead, he spiraled out of control, trying everything to stay relevant. Without the fee collectors, though, he has nothing connecting him with the people. He can't channel their anger anymore. Regardless, he's still around, he's still going, he's not going to stop, so I expect to see more of him in the future as well. I heard he's going to try some other weird election scheme next year too, which I'll be going over in part 2, along with his boxing match, his history of being a pachinko pro, and more. If you want to know more about Tachibana, this is for you. Part 2 is available for free on my Patreon. Yes?
All right, that was a good video. I like that. Thank you for the link. That was worth the 16 minutes. That was crazy, dude. I mean, this is the weakness of democracy, chat. By the people, for the people, but the people are retired. There's a best of internet daily notes. There's the new unusual memes. This thing looks insane.